Good afternoon, Make a Pilot. My name is Landon Stull, and I am a senior at Valley High School in West Des Moines, Iowa. I'm currently a private pilot with just a little bit over 80 hours, mostly in a Cessna 172, and I also recently earned my complex and high performance endorsements in a Mooney. My aviation journey began about 3.5 years ago when I randomly signed up for an EAA Young Eagles discovery flight. After that initial discovery flight, I knew I was interested in aviation. I wasn't quite sure at that point to what degree, but I knew I wanted to pursue this in some way. I wanted to start flight training, as I loved being able to take the controls in that old Cessna 152 flying over this beautiful lake north of my house. However, it wasn't financially practical at that point, as I was just too young and too far away from that minimum private pilot age. So instead, I'd always been interested in drones. So I decided to pursue my FAA Part 107 remote pilot certificate. This allowed me to self-study some of the material that I would later need to know while applying it in a slightly different way. Just after my 16th birthday, I passed the FAA 107 exam and I was officially a pilot. Kind of. A remote pilot. Not quite. But I knew a pilot was the next logical step. A family friend had just purchased a Mooney at a local airport about 45 minutes from my house, and he generously offered to take me flying several times, both in his Mooney and in one of the flight school there's 172s. And this is when the spark really started to roll. I knew that aviation was something that I wanted to pursue beyond just studying for a drone test. When he gave me the controls, it was different than just flying over that Saylorville Lake on the introductory flight. Now I was trying to make a turn in the pattern, and even though I was horrible at it at first, I would see improvement every time I tried, and that improvement is what I really wanted to chase. So, in the summer before my junior year of high school, I started flight training at Des Moines International Airport, a local Class Charlie. And after about 14 hours, I was able to solo for the very first time in the flight school Cessna 172. Flying had been an experience that was nothing like anything else I'd ever done. I've always done very well in school. I have a 4.0 GPA. I'm expected to graduate high school with 2 associate degrees from a community college. However, flying was different. It was a tangible skill that I couldn't just learn from a book. I distinctly remember my flight instructor asking me if I'd ever been bad at something before. It was a really profound question at the time because I realized that in every area of school or public speaking or working on a project, I had usually found success with relatively little friction. However, aviation was different. I had to work harder for it, and in some way, I really loved that. It was a challenge that went beyond just writing down notes or paying attention in class. It was a practical skill that I got to apply in a new way. So, after working through the natural challenges of cancellations, weather, and roadblock, I eventually passed my check ride just after the start of my junior year in high school, a little bit after my 17th birthday. And I knew I wanted to keep flying. I had had the realization while earning my private pilot's license that I would be doing myself an active disservice if I didn't pursue this as a career. So I immediately started looking at colleges, and as of about a month ago, I'm accepted to the University of North Dakota for commercial aviation in fall of 2026. That means I have the rest of my senior year and next summer that I need to both maintain proficiency and continue that drive for learning new things. So far, I've earned my complex and high performance endorsements in that Mooney that I was first inspired in, and next week I'm starting tailwheel lessons in a Champ. I'm also working towards earning my advanced ground instructor certificate. I've had a couple of friends who are working on earning their private pilots because it's something that they want to do in the future also, and I found that I really have a love for teaching, even if it's just in a coffee shop, helping my friend understand airspace entry requirements. So I wanted to pursue that next step of ground education to both help myself and others before going off to college. The money from Make a Pilot would be key to helping me pursue my instrument rating when I start flying next fall at the University of North Dakota. In order to pay for this Part 141 education, I've worked several jobs throughout high school, first as a retail associate at Sierra Trading Post, and most recently as a property management contractor for a real estate holdings company. Your money would allow me to make that next step in college and make the University of North Dakota a realistic option for me to pursue my aviation career in. I'd like to thank you very much for this opportunity and your time reviewing my application. Thank you.